Hello and welcome. So I've had a lot of interesting responses to my last video blog about what to do when you don't get what you want. Quite a few people have responded about how they are creating their reality and somehow they're going to get what they want. And that brought up another interesting question to ponder. Should we be creating our reality, or should we let the reality that's happening around us teach us? Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. If you use the law of attraction to create what you want, applied with a lot of intent, you probably will create most, if not all, the things that you want. However, in doing so, there's a risk that you will suppress some aspects of yourself in order to make that reality happen. Often what I see with people who apply the law of attraction in that way is that they do manage to create what they're looking for a time. And then other things will happen to disrupt that creation, whether it's illness or some other drawback or loss or disappointment of some sort will crop up. And a lot of people will then vehemently reconnect with the law of attraction and work really, really hard to once again start establishing the reality they're looking for. Kind of like the person who once said to me that he was working on his second million. And I said, wow, that's great. And he goes, yeah, first million didn't work out. So sometimes that's the approach people like to take. However, the approach that I suggest is, in the process of creating what you want, you use the opportunities life gives you to delve deeper into yourself. In other words, when everything stops, when a door closes on something that you've been attempting to create, rather than continue to try really hard to pry that door open, have a look at where you find yourself at that moment. Is the universe trying to show you another direction? Is there something coming up from within that you need to look at? And this is what I was stressing in my last video. Being willing to look at whatever is surfacing. A lot of times people will work so hard to change their reality and to keep thinking positively that they're actually not doing the shadow work. And shadow work means being willing to look at those sides of yourself that you may have avoided, especially if you were conditioned as a child to believe that some parts of you were socially unacceptable. For example, it's not uncommon in Western society for children to be taught to suppress certain emotions, either not to cry or not to get angry. And it's not like those feelings go away, they just get suppressed. So a person may have achieved many of the things that they were trying to make happen in their reality, but they can't understand why they're depressed, or they can't understand why they have these angry flare-ups. And it's because those aspects of themselves didn't get incorporated along the way. They weren't part of the journey. And that at some point, they're going to surface. And they need to be addressed. They need to be communicated with. They need to be incorporated into the rest of you. So in order to make that happen, it means walking your journey with mindfulness. When something is coming up from within, when there is some sort of emotional disturbance, you find yourself fretful and you don't know why. You find yourself angry or sad and you don't know why. Taking the time to address that, even to have an inner dialogue with those aspects of yourself. Find out why you're feeling that way. And you can also do that when it comes to illness. I've had situations where some part of my body starts to hurt, and I know there has been no injury. There's no reason for the pain. So I recognize that as some aspect of my psyche trying to communicate with me that has not been able to do so through my dream state or thought process. I'll sit down and I'll ask that aspect of me to let me know what's going on. I'll say, let's start a dialogue, let's talk. And then I start to understand what energy is surfacing, what aspect of me is trying to communicate, and that pain will disappear. So, what happens when you start to incorporate those aspects of yourself in your journey? Who you are changes. Now you have more information to work with. Now you know more of who you are. Some of the things you've wanted may change. I'll give you an example. I was at an event and I was doing intuitive sessions with people who were coming to my table. And one gentleman who was in the military asked me what I felt he should be doing for a living. So I tuned in and I said, making children's toys. And his jaw dropped. And he said, nobody knows that about me. Nobody knows that when I was serving overseas, that's something I did as a hobby. So if I can tune in on somebody's subconscious and pull up information like that and suddenly make their conscious mind aware of that information, something he had shelved until I brought it to the surface, how much does that change the direction that person's life might take now? How much do you not know that's happening in your subconscious that could change your direction in life, that could take you to your soul's true calling, that could make your relationships more fulfilling because more of you is present? You can use some of the tools I suggest, or you can work with me in person by phone or Skype, and I can help you to understand what's happening at the subconscious level that you don't know about. As you become more aware through your own self-inquiry or through working with an intuitive consultant like myself, you have more insight. You have more to work with. You are more present. That also means you have more energy to create the life you want, but you also have a clearer sense about your direction. And you'll get to the point where when fear arises, or anger, or grief, or anything that says, not heading towards joy here, you'll know how to communicate with those aspects of yourself. You'll know how to incorporate your shadow. And in your shadow is your strength and your wisdom. You'll be more present, more fulfilled, and you won't have to take so many wrong turns in your life to discover your true path. I look forward to communicating with you, working with you, and celebrating your true self. Have a great day.